Today, we're going to talk about episode 9 from Surah An-Nissa, starting from verse 81, which says, "And they say, obedience. But when they leave you, a group of them spends the night planning something other than what you say. But Allah records what they plan by night. So turn away from them and put your trust in Allah. And sufficient is Allah as disposer of affairs." So what's the meaning of this verse? God is telling him, O Muhammad, that the hypocrites, when they're sitting with you, will say, "We hear and we obey." But when they leave you, they twist your words, change them, and break the agreements you made together. So that's basically what the whole verse is talking about. And God will record this, the distortion they make of your words, in their records, so he can punish them for this alteration and distortion on the day of judgment. After that, this verse was abrogated. Before, he was telling him, turn away from them and put your trust in God. But it was abrogated by something even stricter. O you who, O Prophet, strive against the disbelievers and the hypocrites and be harsh with them. That's in Surah At-Tawbah, verse 73. So it's about being strict. After he told him, turn away from them, he told him, strive against them and be harsh with them. Who is saying what I'm saying here? The one who says this is elgendynyc al-Quran by al-Qurtubi. Was there a need for him to write it in their records so he could punish them for it on the day of judgment? What exactly are they writing? Isn't it being written down automatically anyway? Honestly, I didn't really get that part. You get what I mean? So that's basically the story, and God writes down what they plot at night. You get what I mean? God writes down what they distort from your words in their records, so he can punish them. God writes it down. Honestly, I don't know. What I know is that even the angels are the ones who write, not God himself. Anyway, what's the second point he's making? Or the second question, or even the second inquiry, says that from among you, a group plots at night. A group among them plots at night. The word group is feminine. I mean, as far as I know, even among those people who talk about language. You see, linguistically, it should be said, a group among them spent the night plotting. That's my belief or my point of view. Why? Because it's like saying, she struck, or she spent the night, or she ate, referring to a group. So it should be she spent the night. Because we would say, he spent the night for a man, and she spent the night for a woman. That's what logic says. So I asked our teacher, Mr. Kamal Hadim, about this, and he said, no, the origin is that the Arabs said anything that doesn't lay eggs or menstruate can be either masculine or feminine. So it could be a group, and we say he spent the night. You see, it's about what's called grammatical femininity and real femininity. A girl is a real, actual feminine, but a group is just grammatically feminine. So you can use the masculine or the feminine with it. Now, the question, did God, when revealing the Quran, consider Arab dialects and what they deem things that don't menstruate or lay eggs, which can be masculine or feminine? The third point is that the punishment for those who distort the Prophet's words here is that God records it in order to punish them on the day of judgment. But he told him, turn away from them, meaning it's not your problem, you know. Whereas in verse 89, which we are about to get to in a bit, just the mere wish of the hypocrites that the believers would become disbelievers like them, that's punishable by death. Just wishing. In 89, they wish believers become disbelievers. So God told him, in that case, seize and kill them. You capture and kill them just for the wish. Anyway, the last point in this verse. What is the time difference between the abrogated verse, which is verse 81 that we have, and the abrogating verse, which is 73 from At-Tawbah, where he says, strive against them and be harsh with them, and things like that? How much time was there between them? I don't really know. 82. Do they not then reflect on the Quran? Had it been from anyone other than Allah, they would have found in it much discrepancy. The verse here is also expressing astonishment, addressing the hypocrites, saying, do they not reflect? Meaning the hypocrites, you see. It is criticizing the hypocrites for not reflecting on the Quran, not thinking about it, not using their reason. Reflecting on its verses means to pay attention, and it says that if they had done so and reflected on its verses, they would not have found any contradiction or inconsistency in it. Very nice. And then the Quran repeated the same meaning again. It said, do they not reflect on the Quran, or are there locks upon their hearts? Which is in Muhammad, verse 24. Who says what I just said about verse 82? Fath al-Qadir by al-Shawkani. The question here is, what is the relevance, or rather, what is the connection of this verse? This verse 82 criticizes hypocrites for not reflecting on the Quran. The previous verse criticizes hypocrites for distorting the Prophet's words. What's the connection between their lack of Quran reflection and their distortion of the Prophet's words? What's the relationship between the two verses? 83. When security or fear arises, they spread it. But if referred to the messenger or those in authority, those who can draw conclusions would have known. If not for God's grace and mercy, you would have followed Satan, except for a few. Two opinions exist regarding the reason for revelation. The first opinion says that when the prophet withdrew from his wives, pay attention, the people said, what happened? The prophet divorced his wives, or his women. So Abu entered the mosque and asked him, did you divorce your wives? He replied, no. Then Umar went outside and said, the prophet did not divorce his wives. After Umar spoke, verse was revealed. The second opinion about the reason for revelation says, no, that's not the story at all. So what's the story then, uncle? They say that whenever the prophet sent out a military expedition to fight, or to raid, or to achieve any goal he wanted as a leader, whatever he wanted as a commander. So when that expedition either won or lost and came back, people would spread news about what happened. They would say they came back defeated, or they won and took spoils, for example. So basically, they wouldn't wait for the prophet, as the official spokesperson in charge, to announce the results of the expedition. So what does that mean? It means that the verse is telling them, if you leave the matter of announcing the results of the expedition, whether victory or defeat, to the prophet or to those in authority, that would be much better. So what is the source that said everything I just mentioned? It's Zad al-Mazir by Ibn al-Jawzi, page 34. So, fight in the way of Allah. You are only responsible for yourself, and urge the believers on. Perhaps Allah will restrain the might of those who disbelieve. And Allah is mightier in power and more severe in punishment. The reason this verse was revealed is that after the battle of Uhud, when they were defeated, the Prophet made an agreement with Abu Sufyan ibn Harb and told him, "Let's meet at Badr." Pay attention. They agreed to fight again at Badr. Just keep that in mind. So what's the important point here? They set a date together, and when the appointed time came, the Prophet told the people, "Come on, let's go, because I made an agreement with Abu Sufyan ibn Harb that we would meet and fight each other to restore our honor from the battle of Uhud and all that." But the people didn't want to go to war. They said to him, "We don't want to go to war anymore." So the verse was revealed, you see, to tell him, even if they don't go out with you, you go out by yourself. That's the idea, basically. So that was the reason for the revelation. When they refused to go out with him, that was the reason for the revelation of the verse. What it means. That was the reason for the revelation. What does the verse mean? It means God tells the prophet to strive against polytheists, even if people don't go out with him. Even if you're alone, you should go out, do that, strive, and fight, just so you know. And you must stand up for the oppressed, who are the believers, and you are only responsible for yourself, meaning you are only accountable for yourself, and you have to go to war even if you're alone, because naturally, God has promised you, He has promised you victory. The important thing is, in the end, some people did go out with the Prophet. 70 people went with him, and honestly, I don't know what the secret is behind the number 70. Keep in mind, 70 went out with him, and they went to the battle of Badr, and they were victorious. God spared them from fighting, and they returned safely. And that, yes, the verse also reproached those who stayed behind and didn't go out with the Prophet in this battle. So it's saying to him, encourage the believers, push them, motivate them, but don't be harsh with them. That's the idea. You see, don't be harsh with them. This perhaps, honestly, I come across it a lot in the Quran, and I don't always fully understand it. Perhaps it means that God prevented the might of the disbelievers, because Abu Sufyan didn't go out to fight that day. So, it's considered that God withheld the strength or power of the disbelievers from going out against the Prophet. Yeah, the source was Lubab al-Tawil fi Mani al-Tanzil by Imam Allah al-Din al-Baghdadi, who is famously known as Al-Kazim. Right, that's great. Now, here are a few questions, honestly. So, when it says, "And God is more severe in might," is it even possible to compare God's might and power? Because ashad is a superlative verb, like saying, so-and-so is better than so-and-so. So-and-so is stronger than so-and-so. Or so-and-so female is more beautiful than so-and-so female. So, these are superlative verbs, like saying God is more severe in might. Is there another God to compare him to, so that he would be more severe than that one? Everyone else around are just humans, his creations. The second point here in the questions is, does God need to incite the prophet to fight? Perhaps, maybe, so that he might restrain the might of those who disbelieve? Was it possible or not? Like, perhaps God will restrain the might of those who disbelieve. God. 85. Whoever intercedes with a good intercession will have a share of it, and whoever intercedes with an evil intercession will have a portion of it. And God is ever, over all things, a keeper. The meaning in the Quran is simple. He is telling him, O Muhammad, whoever helps your companions in their struggle will earn a good deed, and whoever helps in harming them will have a share of that harm, a portion of it. Pay attention. What is this? It's that simple. And God is over all things a keeper. Mokitan here means a witness or watching or capable. That's it. That's the meaning of the verse simply. Just so we don't get into things because it's a simple and easy verse. The source is Al-Bar Al-Muhit 86. And when you are greeted with a greeting, greet in return with one better than it, or return it in a like manner. Indeed, Allah is, over all things, an accountant. Notice that the ba here is a preposition in Bayasani Minha, and the end of the word is in the accusative case, but they find a way to parse it. They'll tell you, no, it's diptote. So what is it that makes it diptote then? We want to know really. Anyway, the important thing is, what are the circumstances of this verse? This verse. Someone passed by the Prophet, greeting him, peace be upon you, O Messenger of Allah. The Prophet replied, and upon you, and the mercy of Allah. Another person passed by him and said, peace be you, O Messenger of Allah, and Allah's mercy. The Prophet replied, and upon you, and the mercy of Allah, and his blessings. Then a third person said, peace be upon you, and the mercy of Allah, and his blessings. He lined up. The Prophet said upon you. He came closer to him and said, O Messenger of Allah, so and so came to you, and you replied to them with something more significant than what you said to me. You told him, and so on you said, and upon you, and the mercy of Allah. And to the other you said, and upon you, and the mercy of Allah, and his blessings. But when it came to me, you said, and upon you. You shortchanged me. You didn't respond to me. He said, my brother, what was I to do? The Quran says, when greeted, respond better or return it. So we responded, but you came and said it to them. So how am I to return their greetings just to you? The real question, what connection between this verse and before, verse 87? Allah, there is no deity but him. He will surely gather you on the day of resurrection, no doubt. And who is more truthful in statement than Allah? He will surely gather you. There are two opinions about this. The first opinion is that he will resurrect you after your death for judgment. God will raise you from your graves for accountability. He will surely gather you means. The second interpretation says, he will surely gather you, meaning in your graves. He will gather you in your own graves. All right, so here you're gathered for judgment, and there you're gathered in your graves just the same. Honestly, that's the second point. So, and who is more truthful in statement than Allah, means that no one is more truthful than Allah's word, since it's impossible for Allah to lie. The source. Who is the source of this statement? It's from Al-Tibyan, the comprehensive exegesis of the Quran by Al-Tusi. It's the same. Is it even possible? Like more truthful, is that even a valid clarification? Can you really compare God's truthfulness? Who are we to compare to human truthfulness? Honestly, I don't get this part. Sometimes the most severe in punishment, and times more truthful in statement than whom? The most severe in punishment than who? And more truthful in statement than who? The second point, or the second question about this verse. What's the connection between this verse and the one before it? I mean, the previous verse. Guys, People are passing by the prophet, saying, "Peace be upon you," and he's responding to them and all that. Then here, it says that he will gather the people on the day of judgment. So here, we're talking about saying peace be upon you to the prophet in this world. And here, we're talking about gathering people for judgment in the afterlife. What's the connection between this and that? I mean, I'm trying to find a topic or a context linking the verses, but I can't find one. Anyway, all right. 88. Why are you divided into two groups regarding hypocrites when God has cast them back for what they earned? Do you want to guide those God has led astray? Whoever God leads astray, you will never find a way for him. We'll explain this, as this issue really caught my attention. All right, so here, what is the verse saying? It's reproaching believers, telling them, you've split into two groups regarding hypocrites. One group wants to kill them, or actually kills them, and another doesn't. That's the issue. Why did you split like that? So that's the point. This thing, Arkasahim Bima Kasabu, what does it mean? It means like he turned them back or flipped them over. God turned the hypocrites' hearts. He made their front become their back, and their back become their front. Something like that, you know? All right, fine. Now, here's the real source, and I'll tell you who it is. He's asking a question, saying that you skeptics, secularists, or the Mutazilites in the past, you say, God himself says who he leads astray, and whoever God leads astray, you won't find a way for him. First, do you want to guide those whom God has led astray? The ones God has led astray, there's no solution for them. So, the source is asking a question here. If misguidance comes from God in the first place, then why does God punish a person if he's the one who led him astray? He's the one asking the question anyway, but he answers by saying, no, pay attention. Why don't you look at the other side of the picture? When God decrees obedience for a person, and that person obeys, then God rewards him and admits him to paradise, gives him a reward. So you have to look at the other side as well. Now, my brother, honestly, my question here is for the source. First of all, this statement, Reflections on the Quran by Sheikh Muhammad Metwali al-Sharawi. This verse contains a very controversial point. You're telling me God cast them back because of what they earned. Let's say God punished them for what they did. God cast them back because of what they earned, the hypocrites. Meaning, God punished them for what they did. Just to make it clear. So let's not complicate things with this cast them back stuff. Very good. All right. And then, okay, do you wish to guide those whom God has led astray? And whomever God leads astray, you will never find a way for him. So they did something wrong, fine, and God cast them back. He punished them. But why did he lead them astray then? That's my question, honestly. Why did he lead him astray? The hypocrite went astray, fine. But why not just leave him and punish him in the afterlife without God leading him astray? Because, okay, and what does the Quran itself say? Whoever God leads astray, there's no way for him. That's it. It's over for him then. So what is he supposed to do? How? How can someone whom God has led astray face the divine will? No one can turn back God's will. He willed for them to go astray. So they went astray, fine. Let it be that he was the one who started by leading himself astray. He was the one who went astray in the first place. He was the one who earned misguidance, who acted upon it, and who followed his own head. He's a flawed human being at the end of the day. So God finishes him off and leads him astray? No, whoever God leads astray has no solution. So what should he do? Why not just lead him within limits? He got injured, so God blinded him. Why not leave him injured and hold him accountable in the afterlife for his injury? You get what I mean? So is God the source of misguidance? I mean, is he the one who misleads? Honestly, I never understood that. Look, this really needs a completely new perspective. This verse, honestly, anyway, verse 99, they wish you would disbelieve. From the group of hypocrites, they wish. Remember when I told you about the desire for the punishment of killing here, and the distortion of the prophet's words in the first verse we took, I mean verse 81, it was just turn away from them. Here, the hypocrites wish that you, believers, would become disbelievers like them. Do you know what their reckoning is? Here, you're supposed to capture them and kill them just because they wished, just because they merely wished that the believers would become disbelievers. But he said, well, they didn't actually kill anyone. Let's just say, in any case, they wished you would disbelieve as they have disbelieved. So you'd all be the same. All of you would be disbelievers. So don't take any of them as allies. The Quran is telling them, don't believe them, because they wish and hope that you would become disbelievers like them. Don't believe them, unless they immigrate for God. But if they turn away, seize them, take them captive. Take them as prisoners. Kill them wherever you find them. Wow. And don't take any of them as an ally or a helper. Good. So let's talk about the meaning. What does the verse mean? The hypocrites, O believers, wished and hoped that you would become disbelievers like them, so that everyone would be equal in disbelief. All right, honestly, that's very good. So in disbelief, misguidance, hypocrisy, and all that, fine. So don't befriend them, or, don't make friends with them until you're sure and certain of their Islam, if they actually become Muslim. Got it. If they refuse to migrate for the sake of God, that is, to move from disbelief and hypocrisy to Islam. That's what migration means here. Pay attention. Take them as prisoners. Capture them completely and put pressure on them. Put pressure on them so that they migrate to Islam. Pay attention here. Islam here, as you say, not me, means by a person's own will. No, if they don't migrate, take them, imprison them, put pressure on them. Not just that, but kill them wherever you find them, because they are your enemies. This is the ideology. These people just wished for it. They didn't take any external action. They didn't actually go and kill anyone. No, it was just something in their hearts. Only God knows. He told believers they're wishing. Go, confront, finish. That's what happened. All right, fine. The truth is, the first point in the verse is that these are people who wished and desired. They wished that the believers would become disbelievers like them. These people did not. They did not turn this wish into action in reality. That's number one, okay. They didn't turn it into aggression fighting against believers, but they refused to move or migrate from disbelief and hypocrisy to Islam. They refused, and that's their right. According to Islam, whoever wishes to believe let him believe. And whoever wishes to disbelieve, let him disbelieve. He must disbelieve after believing, because he can't disbelieve after already being a disbeliever, right? So, their refusal to migrate from hypocrisy, disbelief, and misguidance to Islam, that's their natural right, according to the Quran itself. Very well. So how could their punishment be death in this case? I honestly don't get this, really. Alright, so here he's giving me a specific conclusion. That's how I personally understand it. It's either belief or death. There's no third option. Either you believe or you're killed. Right. So here's the second point. He says, do not take them as allies. So don't take them as allies of God. So what's the wisdom behind repeating it twice in the verse? At the beginning of the verse, he says, so do not take them as allies. Then he says, and do not take from among them a protector. So in one part, it's do not take them as allies once, and then do not take from among them a protector another time. Except for those who join a people between whom and you there is a treaty. Or they come to you with hearts constricted from fighting you or their own people. If Allah had willed, He would have given them power over you, and they would have fought you. So if they would draw from you, do not fight you, and offer you peace, then Allah has not made for you a way against them. What's the reason for this verse's revelation? The Prophet wanted to send Khalid ibn al-Walid to Banu Mudlij to fight them. So, importantly, a man named Suraka ibn Malik from that tribe told the messenger of Allah, let Khalid come with me. We'll make peace with this tribe, make an agreement, and a pact. It's better than fighting. The Prophet then said, Khalid, I'm forgetting his name. Take Suraka ibn Malik with you. Go to those people and do as Suraka says. So Khalid didn't hesitate, took Suraka with him, went to Banu Mudlij, met the people, and made an agreement with them. Khalid ibn al-Walid agreed with them on a few things. First, that you won't help the polytheists or the hypocrites against the Prophet. They said, all right, that's fine. Second, if Quraysh embraces Islam, you'll embrace Islam with them. No problem. So pay attention. Then verse 89 was revealed, in line with Khalid's agreement. Verse 89 was revealed, which is, they wish you would disbelieve. Exactly, very good. So the important thing is, Khalid also told them, if any polytheists come to you, or if they go to other tribes you have agreements with, whether they come to you as Banu Mudlij or go to neighboring tribes you have agreements with. An agreement. If any polytheists come to you, or to those you have an agreement or treaty with, if those polytheists openly show disbelief, you kill them immediately. That's clear. If they don't show disbelief, treat them like the people of the covenant. The neighboring tribes you have treaties, agreements, or covenants with. It's really simple. So then the verse was revealed. Except for those who join a people with whom you have a treaty. That's verse 90, the last one we have here. All right. So, the Quran was being revealed according to the agreements Khalid ibn al-Walid had with whom? With Banu Mudlij. But in general, verse 90 was abrogated by the sword verse, which is, so when the sacred months have passed, then kill the polytheists wherever you find them. There's no more, like, if they show disbelief, kill them. If they don't. No, as long as they're openly polytheists, that's it. deal with them. That's the whole story. And when we get to Surah At-Tawbah, everything will become clear. And may God grant us a long life. So anyway, who's the source saying this? Before I forget, the one saying this is Jalaluddin Al-Sayudi. See you all next Friday.